Here from Gym Team. I hope you're well. Welcome to this restorative stretch class. Grab yourself a pint of water, take a sip, look around your lips and hydrate. Cheers. Okay, putting your water safely to the side. Okay, so this stretch class is designed to really help you out after a day of probably lunging and squatting and trying to grab things and moving things around all day. So grab yourself a space, grab yourself 20 minutes of just peace and tranquility, put some calming music on the background, and let's stretch and move out. Okay, so from here, try and find yourself a nice space and do this in barefoot. Okay, from here, feet fist gap apart. So you're going to bring our hands on our hips and just work through some very easy calf raises. Now, when I say easy, your calf raise might be just simply up and down. It might be doing alternate knees and ankles if that feels more comfortable. Also, grab yourself the wall or something that you can hold on to that you can help and balance if you need to. Now, as you're doing this, try and feel what's happening in your pelvis. We want that pelvis to come forward. We want our shoulders to drop back into position, and we want to lift up from our big toe to a little toe flat down to the floor. As we drive, we raise up tall, and then we slowly lower back down again. The glutes are engaged nice and tight. We're lifting up nice and strong and slowly back down each time. We're going to work 5 more in here. 4 more. Feel your big toe to little toe engage to the ground, curling and arching through the sole of the foot. 1 more here. Good work. From here, we're going to balance on that right foot and take the left leg out to the side. Hold the balance before slowly letting that leg come back down, hovering the floor and holding. And then lift again. Slow control, feel the pinch. As soon as you feel that holding, connecting, slowly lower back down again. All about simple rhythm, simple movement, and controlled balance. We'll work 4 more here. Slow lift, strong to the side, glutes engaged. Slowly lower back down into the middle. 3 more here. Slow lower back down again. 2 more. Last one here. And release. Slowly walking out, taking the pressure off that standing ankle. Roll your hips, give a little shake out. Let's stand. We're going to hitch that right hip up. We're going to lift out wide to the side and slowly lower back into the middle again. Slow controlled lifts, slow controlled lowers. Four more here. Three more here. The last 2. If you need to tap the floor to gain your balance, do so. But see if you can keep it controlled all the way back to that plane. Shake it out, walk it out. Relax out the pelvis. Good stuff. From here, we're going to have our feet fist gap apart. We'll place our hand on top of our hips. Shake our pelvis out. Drop your shoulders back and down into position. From here, you're going to stick your bottom back. You're going to hinge. Slowly then dropping the chin down on the chest. And then slowly rolling yourself down a little bit further down towards the ground. From here, you want to feel your big toe to little toe spread out wide. Feel them connected down to the ground and the heel down to the floor. From here, you're going to reach down, placing the hands gently down on the shin. Feel that nice deep stretch. Now, depending on where you are, will depend on how far you can reach, depend on the flexibility of your spine, your back, and the muscles in that thoracolumbar fascia of the lower back, through the back of the leg muscles, through your hamstring and glutes, on the posterior chain of your body. Now, when you're in this position here, I don't want you to feel like you've got to touch the floor. That's not what this is about. It's about keeping the legs nice and straight. We're trying to take the bend out the knee. So we're keeping the leg as straight as possible without causing aggravation. We want the length here because we want to strengthen and lengthen these hamstrings. So they're not overcompensating the knee joints, and everything that's causing you to flex your knee, like tight hamstrings, is going to have an impact on your pelvis, causing you to have perhaps lower back problems, especially when you're doing any form of activity that involves lifting and kneeling. Placing the hands down the shins, we should be able to relax the fingers slightly, giving them a slight shake. We then check our feet position again. We want the big toe to little toe anchored down to the ground, toes to the heel flat down as well. As we're holding that stretch, we're now going to drop the chin on the chest, and the crown of the head is going to point directly down to the floor. As we do this, we push our bottom back just slightly further, and we can feel a more definite stretch all the way through the back of the legs. And you might find that your hands want to walk down or up the legs. Find what feels comfortable for you. You're going to be here for a while longer. From here, we just close the eyes. We take a slow, deep breath in for 4. You're going to hold that breath and then slowly exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, you're going to walk your hands slowly up your thighs. You might get a little bit of unbalance coming into it. Might find a little bit dizzy as you come up to standing. Once you come up to standing, I want you to walk your feet just a little bit closer together. You're going to push your pelvis over to one side. You're going to feel that nice stretch all the way through the lateral border of the body. And hold. Feel your big toe to little toe square and flat down to the ground. From here, we strengthen, lengthen the torso, and then we push to the opposing side. Now the hips are going to glide to the right. You're going to feel that big toe to little toe flat down to the floor. The glutes nicely engaged. Check what's happening in your feet. You might find your feet want to change position. Maybe turning the heels out slightly or turning the toes out slightly. Slowly come back out of that stretch. Do a circle of the pelvis and then roll back the opposite way. Good work. From here, we're going to roll down gently to the floor. I'm going to lay on the right side. So having lengthened out the posterior side of the body, we're now going to try and stretch a little bit out of the front or the anterior side. We're going to take ourselves into that nice deep quad stretch. We're going to grab that heel up behind us, and we're going to straighten the bottom leg out as tall as we can. Now, if you struggle grabbing your foot to stretch up the front of your thighs, grab a towel, roll it up, place it over the shin of the foot, and then lever it in. We're just going to work through this stretch here. We want the knees sort of laying one on top of the other. We want the hips nicely pushing forward gently. Feel a nice big stretch all the way through the front of the thigh. From here, we're going to feel that plantar flexion of the foot. So we've got the toes curled up nicely behind us. Our shoulders are back. Our glutes are nicely engaged. Now, if you can't feel your bottom just squeezing just a fraction or a little tweak, I want you to engage it now. Feel your bottom tweak just slightly, pull in a little bit tighter. From here, slowly releasing out of that front thigh stretch and allowing a circumduction of that top leg now. Just trying to create some movements back through that hip. Lifting strong and high. Now counterclockwise. Bottom leg just rested to the floor, circling round and back. Two more here. One more. Creating that movement, really important. From here, raising that top knee up. Taking the top arm up at chest height, reaching up to the ceiling. Allow the arm to roll back behind you. Lovely stretch from that pectoral major, the chest muscles. Well open the finger nice and wide. What I want to concentrate on is relaxing your head and allowing the shoulder to just drop in behind you. Now, in this position here, it's not about can you get your fingertips down to the floor, but if there is that range, allow it to go and glide to where it feels comfortable. Put your back arm roughly parallel to the floor is a good stretch. Now, you slowly walk that arm in a straight line, pivoting from the shoulder down towards your hip, with your palm facing up, before stretching and reaching high again and lifting back. Nothing forced, simply working through the range of your shoulder. Chest lifted, shoulders back into position and held. Slow, controlled deep breaths in and out. Gently allowing the arm to come back, straight arm position, back to the hip. And resting. From there, extending both legs before rolling back over to your left side. From here, straighten the body out nice and tall. You might find a little pinch here, just in the side of that tummy muscle. This is where your quadratus lumborum is. You might find that's got a little bit tight as you're stretching on the opposing side, or possibly from the exercises you've done today. From here, we're going to go back into that quad stretch. This time, taking that right heel up nice and high. Again, we're just trying to relax through these exercises, holding the stretches for as long as we feel comfortable. If you're doing this on a replay, you could do this holding for 5 minutes or up to 5 minutes on each stretch, which would be really good for you. Again, pulling that knee back so it's just hovering the other knee. Keeping a straight line through from our nose through to our knee. Straight line going straight through the pelvis of the body. Shoulders are retracted back into position and held. From here, we're gently going to release out of that quadriceps stretch. Again, we can either raise the top leg and hold, bring the bottom arm down to the floor to stabilize. The top arm reaches up high to the ceiling at chest height and drops back behind you, opening up through the chest. You might find a bit more rotation here. You might find that one side is more supple than the other. And again, you're going to allow the arm to stay straight. It pivots from the shoulder and the hand comes back to the hip. For lifting and reaching high, elongating through the body. Try and straighten yourself out a bit taller now from nose through to toes. Allow the arm to come back again, reaching back behind you, allowing that shoulder retraction. Slowly allowing that arm to come back. Brushing past the hip before we lift and raise again. Stretching as high for the ceiling as we can, webbing the fingers out wide. Let the arm retract behind you. Before slowly allowing the arm to pivot back, resting up over the hip, stretching down to your toes. And from here, releasing. Rolling yourself back to your front. And from here, we're going to take ourselves through into a press-up position, kneeling on the floor. We're going to take our left knee up, placing the left knee in between the hands. We're going to extend the right leg behind us as straight as we feel comfortable. We're just going to hold this position here. Now, the amount of flexion that you have is entirely up to what feels safe, relevant, and effective for you. Just try and hold that stretch comfortably. From here, you're going to roll down onto the forearms. And then I want you to extend that back leg a little bit further again. You should feel a lovely deep stretch on the outside of the hip. From here, you're just going to slowly roll the left hip down towards the floor slightly, allowing a rotation through that right thigh. From here, you're gently going to pull yourself back up, rolling over the right knee. Now place your forehead onto your forearms, if you can, if it feels comfortable. Again, feeling that deep stretch all the way around the hip joints. Again, gently rolling to the left side. Before slowly pulling yourself back up. Dropping the heel into the front of the right thigh. Slowly rotating again, allowing the left hip to drop down. Again, feeling that nice deep stretch all the way through the lateral side of that left hip. And just find where that point is in the outside of the hip. It just needs a little bit more TLC. You might find it's pushing the hip down to the side a bit further. Might be pulling up and rotating slightly as well. Closing the eyes, taking a slow deep breath in for 4. Holding that breath. And slow, controlled, deep breath out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And releasing. Taking your hands back to the floor. Walking out. Raising the right knee up this time. Extending the left leg back. Again, dropping down onto the forearms. Feeling the left leg extend behind you. And again, see if you can extend that left leg again behind you in a nice straight line, keeping the nose down to the ground. Big toe to little toe, knuckles down to the ground fully. Again, see if you can drop your forehead down to the forearms. Nice big deep stretch all the way through the lateral side of that right hip. Closing the eyes, taking a slow deep breath in for 4. Slow deep breath out for 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly rocking laterally outside of the right hip, going down towards the floor. Slowly putting yourself back in a bit more medially. You might find with that knee out wide that you've got a little bit of a stretch coming in the inner thigh. The adductor feeling that stretch. And again, allowing the back leg to extend further. Dropping back into plane. Before slowly walking up onto your hands. Just give it a bit of a stretch out, lengthening out the back. From there, dropping your chin down on your chest. And from there, slowly walking out of position. And take yourself through into whatever position feels comfortable, if that's sitting or kneeling, or onto your front of your shins. From here, slowly taking yourself through into standing. And shake it out. From there, rock your pelvis side to side, reaching down to the side, and release. Good work. Stretching high, pushing up, lifting up on the tiptoes, and relax. Really, really well trained. I hope you found that useful. Go back and practice through those stretches where you will find that bite point. That's your stretch reflex kicking in. Try and find that point. See if you can relax through the muscles. Let it switch off and feel that stretch improve. Well done. Grab your water. Hydrate well after that. One of the key parts of stretching. Make sure you stay nice and hydrated as well. Well done. Well trained. I'll see you next time for the next one. Well trained. Thanks. Oh.